Hello everyone, welcome back to Coach Craig Sports, and today is Tuesday, so we are going to be looking at another head coaching opening, and this one is going to be the Atlanta Falcons this time. I will give you guys a little bit more news on the Houston Texans coaching position before we get into the Falcons. So today they announced that they are going to request an interview with Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. As many of you know, this was kind of a controversial thing with that Deshaun Watson because he wanted Bieniemy to be at least part of the process for the head coaches was somebody that he wanted. But there is rumors out there that Bieniemy was not interested in the job either, so we'll see if he accepts or declines the request for an interview. His opening for interviews was only open until Sunday based on the league's policy, so they're either going to have to wait till the Chiefs lose or the Super Bowl to interview him at this point in time. So that will definitely be something to watch out for as we move forward, especially with the different coaching positions, especially since Bieniemy is a candidate for almost every job at this point in time. But without further ado, we'll get into the Falcons. Like I said yesterday, it sounded like Joe Brady is the leader here. It sounds like he might get hired very soon. So we'll go in order that they have listed here. The first one they have is the Falcons interim head coach, Raheem Morris. So obviously, he's the guy that had the job for part of the year this year. Former Buccaneers head coach as well, probably what he's most known for. But we're going to go over to my notes. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of where all he's been and kind of his experience overall. So he was a player at Hofstra University. He was a graduate assistant after that in 1998. Then he went on to Cornell in 1999 as a defensive backs coach and special teams assistant. Then he went back to Hofstra as the defensive backs coach there. 2002 to 2005, he was a defense assistant with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then he was the Kansas State defensive coordinator in 2006. Back to the Buccaneers as the defensive backs coach there, 2007 and 2008. He's the head coach for the Bucs from 2009 to 2011. At the time, he was, I believe, the youngest head coach in the league. After that, he was with what was the Washington Redskins at that point in time, from 2012 to 2014 as a defensive backs coach. And he's been with the Falcons since 2015 to the present time. With the Falcons, he's served quite a few different roles: defensive backs coach, wide receiver, defensive coordinator, and the interim head coach. So definitely a lot of experience there. Definitely a guy that's been around the league for quite some time. He's been rumored to a couple other jobs as well. He's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing them get this job, especially since they kind of turned it around a little bit since he took over after Dan Quinn was fired. The next one, obviously, we have is Eric Bieniemy, like we were just talking about, him being interviewed for the Texans job. So we're going to get some information on him as well. So he is 51 years old. He was a former player. He played running back in the NFL and at the University of Colorado in college. He started off his coaching career at Colorado 2001, 2002 as a running back coach, moved on to UCLA 2003 to 2005 as a running back coach as well. Then he was with the Vikings from 2006 to 2010, running back coach there. Then he went back to Colorado as the offensive coordinator for 2011 and 2012. He's been with the Chiefs since 2013. From 2013 to 2017, he was the running back coach there. Since 2018, he has assumed his current role as offensive coordinator. So he's a guy that's in high demand. He's going to get a head coaching job this year from one of the teams that does have an opening. I don't think it's going to be with the Falcons personally. I just don't think it's the right fit for them. I think he has better connections and better opportunities elsewhere, so I don't think it's going to be with the Falcons. Next up, we have Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who we did talk about yesterday as well. If you guys missed that episode, you can go back and click on it as well, but we'll give you a real quick rundown this time. So Arthur Smith, once again, he's 38 years old. He is the current offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Started off his coaching career in 2006 with North Carolina as a graduate assistant. Spent some time with the Redskins 2007-2008 as a defensive quality assistant. Then he went on to Ole Miss in 2010, defensive intern, administrative assistant. Been with the Titans since 2011 and the offensive coordinator for the Titans the past 2 years. He's a guy, like I said yesterday, I think he's a year or two away from being that head coach. I don't think if you put him in now that he would be a good head coach, but he's definitely a guy that's interviewed with pretty much every team as well. I don't think he's the right fit here for Atlanta. Next up is probably, in my opinion, the hottest name on the market, and that is Robert Saleh, defensive coordinator for the 49ers. So Mr. Saleh is 41 years old, and he started his coaching career at Michigan State 2002-2003 as a graduate assistant. Moved on to Central Michigan as a defensive assistant in 2004. He was a defense assistant with Georgia in 2005 as well. He was with my Houston Texans, my favorite team, from 2006 to 2010. as a defensive intern, a quality control coach, and then moved up to assistant linebacker coach. Then he moved on to the Seattle Seahawks, 2011 to 2013. He was a defensive quality control coach there as well. Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker coach from 2014 to 2016. And then since 2017, he has been the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, and he's done a great job there. He's a guy that, he gets the best out of his players. He demands the best out of you. He's my favorite candidate in terms of head coaching candidates available for this season. So I think he's definitely a guy that's going to come in, kind of change the culture of a team and do very well. With that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons went after him, but I think he's going to end up with Detroit Lions. We'll talk about that more when we talk about the Lions, but he is a Detroit native, and they have a strong desire for him as well. So the man of the hour, Panthers offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Obviously, he's very young. We talked about him a little bit yesterday as well, but this is the rumored guy for the Atlanta Falcons, so we're going to dig a little bit deeper into him. Joe Brady is 31 years young. This would make him the youngest NFL head coach in the league. But he started out his coaching career at William & Mary, 2013, 2014 as a linebacker coach. Moved on to Penn State, 2015, 2016 as a graduate assistant. Then he was with the Saints for 2017, 2008 as an offensive assistant. Then moved on to LSU, obviously last year. I'm sure a lot of you know about this already with LSU, what they did last year. But he's the passing game coordinator and the wide receivers coach there. And then this year, he was the Panthers offensive coordinator. Like I said, I think he's still a guy that's probably a year away. Probably could use another year before he becomes a head coach. But if this is their guy, then you got to go after your guy. If they bring him in, I think they're going to be trying to rejuvenate the offense. They might move on for Matt Ryan and Julio Jones over the next few years. So I would not be surprised if they took a young quarterback early to groom, and maybe Matt Ryan ends up getting traded this offseason. But with that being said, if he is the guy, like I said, it's not been announced yet, but there's two names that I would look out for as well. And these are two guys that are rumored to a couple jobs as well for head coaches. But these are the two guys that I think could end up being his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator if Joe Brady becomes the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. The first one's Dan Campbell. He's the assistant head coach and tight end coach for the New Orleans Saints. Like I said, Joe Brady spent some time with New Orleans. So he's a guy that could step up into an offensive coordinator role. Definitely be a step up for him. And then on defense, Aaron Glenn, defensive backs coach for the Saints. Like we've been saying, Joe Brady spent some time with the Saints, so they're familiar with one another. It would not surprise me if those two guys came over as offensive and defensive coordinator for him. There could be some connections on the Panthers as well, maybe back to LSU or someone that we don't even know about yet. But those are two names I would consider for offensive and defensive coordinator if he was hired. Then we got Buccaneers defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. And Todd Bowles is a guy that I honestly think should get another shot as well. Kind of like I talked about with Leslie Frazier yesterday. Bowles did a pretty good job as the head coach of the Jets. Been a very, very good defensive coordinator in his time in the NFL. So Todd Bowles is 57 years old. And he started his coaching career back in 1997 as a defensive coordinator and defensive back coach at Morehouse College, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, I do not know where that is. But, as starting off as a defensive coordinator, that's definitely a good step. Then he moved on to Grambling State in 1998 and 1999, defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach there as well. Then he was with the Jets 2000 as a defensive backs coach. Looks like 2001 to 2004, he was a defensive backs coach with the Browns. Then the Cowboys 2005 to 2007, he was also a defensive backs coach. And then he was with the Dolphins in 2008 to 2011, assistant head coach, defensive backs coach, and he was actually the interim head coach for a while as well. Then with the Eagles, 2012, defensive backs coach and interim defensive coordinator. 2013, 2014, he was the defensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Jets head coach from 2015 to 2018. And 2019 to current time, he is the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. I think he's definitely a strong candidate for a lot of these coaching jobs that he's interviewing for. I think he'd be a good fit here and really help bring out the most out of that young defense that they do have. Then last but not least, we got Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett. He's kind of a younger guy. He's a guy that I didn't really think should be a head coaching candidate, but this is really the only team that's interviewed him so far as well. For Nathaniel Hackett's background, he is 41 years old. He started off his coaching career at UC Davis as an assistant linebacker coach in 2003. Then he moved on to Stanford from 2003 to 2005. He was an assistant there and a recruiting coordinator. And then he moved on to Tampa Bay, 2006 to 2007, offensive quality control coach. The Bills, 2008 to 2009, as an offensive quality control coach as well. Then he went to Syracuse from 2000 to 2012. He was a quarterback, tight end coach, and became the offensive coordinator as well. Then with the Bills, 2013 to 2014 as the offensive coordinator. He was with Jacksonville from 2015 to 2018. Quarterback coach, offensive coordinator there. And then the Packers since 2019 as the offensive coordinator. So obviously the Packers have had a great offense this year. How much of that is credit to Nathaniel Hackett is really a good question. A lot of credit goes to Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur for kind of like inventing the offense, if you want to call it that. But, this is the last candidate that we do have down here. And for me personally, the two guys I'd be looking at would be Raheem Morris and Todd Bowles. I think they needed kind of that defense head coach once again. And these two guys, Morris, you already seen it with him kind of doing it towards the end of the season. Todd Bowles, he was an all right head coach with the Jets. Very good defensive coordinator. Definitely a guy that gets a lot out of his players. Robert Saleh, he could be in there as well, but I think he ends up with the Lions. But it does sound like they're going to go with Joe Brady. So once again, if it's Joe Brady, I think Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, they could definitely be his offense and defensive coordinator. But with that being said, this is pretty much a wrap on the vacancy for the head coaching position for the Atlanta Falcons. Once again, be sure to leave your comments down below to who you think the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons will be. Maybe if you think Joe Brady's going to be the head coach of the Falcons, who do you think he's going to bring in as offensive and defensive coordinator as well? Definitely would love to hear you guys' thoughts. But with that being said, if you guys liked and enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Definitely helps build the channel here and continue this series that we are working on. If you guys are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, and that's really one for you, the viewers. Like I've been saying, do a lot of fantasy football content. It's kind of dying down because fantasy football season is over, so we're going to be doing some DFS still, and I will be putting out videos regarding the head coaching positions that are open over the next week or so. So tomorrow's video is going to be the New York Jets. We're going to be talking about their head coaching opening as well. On Thursday, I will be doing my DFS picks, breaking down the slate for this weekend as well. So we'll probably do Thursday and Friday. So one for the Saturday slate, one for the Sunday slate, kind of like I did last week. And then on Friday, we'll do some more head coaching openings as well. But with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber is yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. It lets you know every single time I post up a new video. And with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, please let me know your thoughts down below. Who you think is going to be that next head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. And if you're a Falcons fan, be sure to like the video. Be sure to give yourself a shout out. Say, hey, I'm a Falcons fan. This is what I think we should do. But with that being said, that's all we got for today's video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed and have a great rest of your day.